What is up, guys? Sky here again, and in this video I'm going to walk you through a D2L quiz just so you know what some of the questions might look like and how you would go about answering them. So here on our course homepage we're going to go up to More and we're going to go down to Quizzes. And this very first quiz, What You Know Joe, is the one that we're going to take. And so we're going to click on it. And here, before we actually click Start Quiz, it's going to be really important for you to read some of this information, mainly instructions, and if there is a time limit, because you're going to want to know how long you have to take this quiz, especially if you only have maybe half an hour and the quiz is a really long one and it's allowed maybe an hour. You might need all that time, so it's definitely good to look at the time allowed and any instructions that it's definitely good to look at the time allowed and any instructions that the professor has provided for you, as well as the number of attempts, because you might get multiple attempts sometimes. So let's go ahead and click Start Quiz. And so this one displays all of our questions here. Sometimes, though, you'll have a lot of questions, and you can navigate with these pages. So it's definitely helpful to know how those work, but we'll go ahead and just put some answers in. So with this first one, we'll just pick the first answer. Joe knows Latin. Well, we'll say true. And those are examples of multiple choice and true-false questions. These next ones are a little bit more complicated. So these are matching questions. And what this one asks is something very simple. Match the spelled version of the number to the number itself. And so 2, obviously, we can see is number 2. And what we'll do is click this drop-down. And that's going to let us choose one of the options. So we'll click that one for that, 3, and then, of course, 1. And notice this little saved bar. It doesn't mean that your answer is locked in. It just means that it's saving your progress as you go. So if you click off the screen like this, you can go back down here to continue quiz, and all of your answers are going to be saved. That can be really helpful if you have a lot of essay questions, such as this number 4, which is kind of a written response question. And so we'll just say test response. But again, if you were to be typing several paragraphs and you X'd out of this and did something else, it would be saved. So that's pretty helpful. We click off of it, it's going to save it, and it says 4 questions saved. So at that point, we'll click Submit Quiz. And it's going to give you a warning, are you sure? You can go back to the questions if you're not sure. It's always good to double check. But if we are sure, we'll click Submit Quiz. And then we're good to go. And that's pretty much all there is for submitting a quiz attempt. Again, if you had multiple attempts, you might get to do it again, but sometimes you just have one. And that's, like I said, really all there is in terms of questions. There are different types of questions that I didn't show here, but a lot of them are pretty straightforward. And you can always ask your professor if you're not sure. And most of the time, a professor is going to be pretty good about telling you what kind of questions are on a quiz. If there's anything weird, like matching or even ordering, they'll usually tell you that that kind of thing will be on there. So it's usually practical to make sure you have a relatively good idea of the kind of questions that are going to be on the quiz before going in. And if the professor hasn't provided information, I would strongly recommend you ask. As always, if you have any questions or any concerns, you can always email us at onlinehelp@okcu.edu.